Let's watch.
Hello and a very warm welcome. You're watching Gravitas with me, Raisha Saigal. On the show tonight, we will tell you how, despite momentum in peace talks, the situation on the ground, on the battlefield, remains tense, with both Ukraine and Russia attacking each other and the Kremlin playing down the Zelensky-Trump talks. Also on the show, America's allies are growing uneasy, with doubts mounting about the reliability of US security guarantees. And on Gravitas, we ask, is faith in the American president fading? Also on the show, US President Donald Trump has said that the Ukraine peace deal would help him get to heaven. All that and a lot more lined up for you on Gravitas tonight. Let's get you started. Talks to end the war in Ukraine may have gained momentum, but that does not mean that the fighting on the battlefield has slowed down. Far from it, actually. War still rages across the front line, with both the sides reporting heavy strikes and mounting losses, even as efforts to end the war inches forward. Russia is said to have attacked multiple Ukrainian targets, and Ukraine has claimed that it destroyed 2 Russian ammunition depots. On both the sides of the front line, the fighting continues unabated. According to a statement released by the Russian Ministry of Defense, its air defense systems intercepted 3 aerial bombs and 1 American HIMARS missile. Russia says it shot down 117 drones in a single day. The Russian military says that they have employed high-precision weapons as well as drones to strike oil refineries supplying fuel to Ukrainian forces, ammunition depots and assembly workshops for long-range drones. The Ukrainian Air Force, air defense missile units and electronic warfare troops claimed to have shot down 230 drones of various types, as well as several Iskander-M ballistic missiles and Kh-101 cruise missiles. In Ukraine's Sumy region, emergency crews responded after Russia launched an overnight strike, injuring 14 people, including 3 children. Firefighters were seen battling to put out several blazes after the strikes hit homes, buildings and even civilian cars. Well, that's what's happening on the battlefield right now. But as far as peace talks go, the White House said on Tuesday that the U.S. can assist, can help in the coordination as far as security guarantees for Ukraine are concerned. And this comes after U.S. President Donald Trump ruled out putting American boots on the ground in Ukraine. He has given no specifics about the security guarantees that he has promised Ukraine. But the White House did say that providing air support to Ukraine is an option that is being looked at.
Can you confirm that Putin suggested Moscow as a venue for the bilateral talks? And if so, doesn't that indicate that Putin is perhaps not serious about this, that he's suggesting a venue that there's no way that Zelensky is going to go to?
Look, I'm not going to litigate the private conversations between the president and President Putin, aside from what the president himself has already spoken on. But I can tell you there are many options that are being discussed by our national security team right now with both parties.
There are a wide variety of ways the U.S. could provide air support to Ukraine. According to experts, it could be as simple as providing more air defense systems to Ukraine, or a more involved U.S. role that includes U.S. fighter jets enforcing some sort of a no-fly zone. Meanwhile, Russia remains steadfast on its demands. During an interview with Russia's state TV channel on Tuesday, Russia's foreign minister Sergei Lavrov said that territorial changes are essential. They are important component of conflict resolution.
Yes,
that is one of its results. Territorial changes are often an essential component of conflict resolution. There are many such examples. I would like to emphasize once again that we have never talked about the need to seize any territories. Neither Crimea, nor Donbass, nor Novorossiya as territories have ever been our goal. Our goal was to protect Russian people who lived on these lands for centuries, discovered these lands and shed blood for them. They founded cities in Crimea and in Donbass, such as Odessa, Nikolaev, many others, ports, factories, plants.
Russia currently holds around a fifth of Ukraine, and Trump, who is trying to push both the sides to end the war, has said that land swapping and territorial adjustments will be a key to any potential settlement. So in a flurry of diplomacy aimed at ending the war, Trump invited Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and European leaders to the White House on Monday. This was 3 days after his landmark meeting with the Russian president in Alaska. But while Trump said that Putin had agreed to meet Zelensky and accept some Western security guarantees for Ukraine, those promises have been met with extreme caution by Kyiv and the Western leaders, because many details still remain vague. Trump said he remains optimistic after he met both the leaders. Trump, who has rather been a fierce critic of the billions of dollars in U.S. support to Ukraine since 2022, earlier said that European nations were willing to put people on the ground, to put boots on the Ukrainian soil to secure any settlement. Russia has warned that any solution must also protect its own security interests and has ruled out Ukraine joining NATO. Reports say another potential site for a follow-up meet, we're talking about the trilateral summit, which also includes the US president, is Budapest. Meanwhile, in Moscow, people are optimistic about the talks.
I think the contact is a good sign in any case. And considering that Putin is a good negotiator, I think there is something to expect here. The result could be very good, since we are in a very good position.
But on the streets of Kyiv, there is skepticism about whether the latest talks can really end the war.
I don't think it will do any good,
because the main problem is that Putin himself doesn't want it. They can meet as many times as they want, but Putin doesn't need it. And Donald Trump doesn't really know what to do himself. He's a bit of a freak. So I don't think it will bring us to anything.
In other news, American allies feel abandoned as US promises turn shaky, forcing nations to contemplate the unthinkable. In a world on edge, Japan, South Korea, Germany and Poland now eye the bomb, rewriting red lines in global security. Our next story takes a closer look at how old friends lose trust in Trumperica. Take a look.
Mushroom clouds haunt Japan's nightmares once more. Hiroshima and Nagasaki devastated, atomic blasts, cities erased, generations scarred. Now in 2025, those haunting images flash anew in Tokyo's power corridors. President Trump's wavering on America's defense promises rattles Asian and European capitals. Japan's leaders are debating what few thought possible, having their own nuclear bomb.
Unlike other countries, it's not easy for Japan to go nukes, and I think it's not really politically possible at this moment. That being said, for example, employing or introducing the American nukes in case of the emergency, that's possible, I think.
I sense there's a growing recognition, at least among some, that Japan must develop its own nuclear strategy, something we've long avoided but now must be addressed. I'm hopeful about that shift.
U.S. reliability, once the bedrock of global deterrence, has cracked under Trump's unpredictability and his America First policy. With Washington hinting at pulling U.S. troops, curbing security guarantees, and dismissing alliances, Tokyo faces an unprecedented dilemma. Can Japan trust America to shield it from North Korea's missile or China's mighty military? The answer increasingly is no. This isn't an isolated dilemma. Across the globe, America's traditional allies are facing the same terrifying question. In South Korea, with a nuclear-armed North Korea on its border, a growing chorus of political and public opinion is advocating for Seoul to build its own nuclear deterrent. The fear is that if the US were to back away, South Korea would be left vulnerable. Similarly, in Europe, Poland, a frontline state bordering Russia, is also contemplating a nuclear future as a hedge against what it sees as a potentially crumbling NATO alliance and a new wave of Russian aggression. The world's most fragile red line is being tested, and the nuclear genie, once unleashed, may never return to the bottle. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
It's now time for Gravitas quote-unquote. Amid talks on war, peace and multilateral diplomacy, US President Donald Trump seems to have had a spiritual reckoning of sorts. An epiphany, if you will. One that is linked to the war still raging on in Ukraine. On Tuesday, Trump said that a Ukraine peace deal is likely to boost his chances of getting to heaven. In an interview with Fox News, Trump said, and I quote him here, "I want this war to end, then American soldiers will not die. The main harm is being suffered by Russians and Ukrainians. If I can save approximately 7,000 people from death every week, it would be a wonderful result," unquote. Now, in this context, he stated that after his life, he wants to enter heaven and hopes that his efforts to end the war in Ukraine will help with this. As per Trump, this is an important step not only for his personal life, but also for all of humanity. And to confirm this, a reporter even raised a question on Trump's actual motivation to his press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, who thinks that the president was dead serious. Take a listen.
I know the president said on Fox News this morning that he's partially seeking peace in order to get to heaven. Was he joking, or is there spiritual motivation behind his peace deals here?
I think the president was serious. I think the president wants to get to heaven, as I hope we all do in this room as well.
Trump's comments are also timely and comes the day after hosting the leaders of Ukraine and several European nations at the White House. This was a big step towards Trump trying to prove himself as a peace broker or a peacemaker in chief. Take a look at this picture right now, where Trump makes an attempt to show the European leaders his true might by indicating towards a picture on the White House wall of him holding up a fist, calling out fight. And this is, of course, on the day of the assassination attempt against him. But while on one hand, Trump seems to be chasing afterlife plans of getting to heaven by looking to stop one war, in yet another part of the world, he's pretty much poised to wage another one in Venezuela. According to a U.S. official, America is deploying 3 guided missile destroyers to the waters of Venezuela as a part of Trump's efforts to combat threats from Latin American drug cartels, blamed for the flow of fentanyl and other illicit drugs into the U.S. The official has also reportedly said that these vessels would be deployed over the course of several months. In response, Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro has said that he will deploy 4.5 million militia members in response to these threats, thus indicating a standoff which could blow up into a full-fledged war between Washington and the Latin American country.
This week, I will activate a special plan to guarantee coverage with more than 4,500,000 militiamen throughout the national territory, militias prepared, activated, and armed.
Well, just for context, U.S. and Venezuela share long-standing hostilities, with both the countries breaking off formal bilateral diplomatic ties in 2019. That's after Trump backed opposition leader Juan Guaido in the presidential election. Well, time and again, the Trump administration has called Maduro's presidency illegitimate. And an NYT report also says that Trump signed a secret directive to the Pentagon to use military force against all these cartels. Earlier this month, rising tensions indicate that both the sides are far from backing off anytime soon. Well, coming back to Trump now, this is the same man who bragged that he would end the Russia-Ukraine war within 24 hours before taking office. Months later, there's still no real breakthrough in sight. Trump has repeatedly said that he had ended 6 to 7 full-blown wars, again, without proof or concrete evidence. And speaking of wars, not too long ago, Trump waged another war, sweeping tariffs against U.S. allies. India was handed around 50%. Critics say years of diplomacy has been undone in a single stroke. The only countries exempted from the tariff bombs are ones that backed Trump's Nobel Peace Prize ambitions, the likes of Pakistan and Israel. This just goes on to show when it comes to choosing between peace and power, Trump really has one clear preference. No points for guessing which one. Let's tell you what else landed for you on Gravitas tonight. We'll tell you how India has successfully test-fired its nuclear-capable intermediate-range ballistic missile Agni-5 from Odisha. Staying on with stories from India, we will tell you about the 3 bills which proposes automatic removal of elected officials, including the Prime Minister and the Chief Ministers. Stick around. Coming up next, we'll tell you about the upcoming Miss Universe pageant, where Israeli and Palestinian beauty queens will go head-to-head this November. Well, India fires a shot into the future of warfare. Agni-5, the long-range nuclear missile, roars into the sky. With MIRV and bunker-buster power, it's a powerful, strong message to New Delhi's adversaries. A blinding flash, a thunderous roar, and India's Agni-5 missile carved a fiery trail into the night sky. With a strike range of over 5,000 kilometers, this intercontinental class weapon, which can carry nuclear payload, places nearly all of Asia and much of Europe within reach. The missile was successfully test-fired a short while ago from the integrated test range Chandipur in Odisha. But it's not just range that makes Agni-5 formidable. It's the technology packed inside. At its heart lies MIRV, Multiple Independently Targetable Re-Entry Vehicle technology. One missile, several warheads, each capable of hitting different targets. It means no single defense system can shoot them all down. Missiles with MIRV tech present a problem for ballistic missile defenses because interceptor missiles have to be contend with a number of warheads traveling to targets hundreds of kilometers apart. Only a few nations have this kind of technology, the MIRV technology we're talking about, and India joins an elite list where the US, Russia, China, France and the UK possess such missile technology. Add to that its bunker buster capability. The missile is designed to penetrate fortified underground facilities, command centers, hardened bunkers, even deep sheltered nuclear sites. A weapon built not just to deter but to destroy. Agni-5 sits atop a family of proven warriors. The Agni series began with Agni-1, a short-range ballistic missile covering 700 kilometers, ideal for swift regional strikes. Then, of course, comes Agni-2, which doubles that reach to 2,000 kilometers, while Agni-3 brings mid-range destruction with a 3,500 kilometer range. Agni-4 steps further, striking targets up to 4,000 kilometers away with improved mobility and accuracy. Manufactured by the Defense Research and Development Organization, the DRDO, it is the most advanced in the Agni series, a family of surface-to-surface missiles that forms the backbone of India's land-based nuclear deterrent. Agni-5 is the crown jewel, quick to deploy and almost impossible to preempt. Each successful launch reinforces India's status as a major missile power, ready, responsible, and resolute in defense. With the Agni arsenal blazing brighter and deadlier, the message is clear. India now has the range, the technology, and the backbone to defend against its threats, no matter where they come from. Well, in Panama, the US and Panamanian security forces have wrapped up joint military drills showcasing their ability to defend the Panama Canal, a waterway extremely important for global trade. The exercises comes amid tensions in Washington over China's growing footprint along the canal. US and Panama said that the joint drills highlight not just their military readiness, but also their deepening cooperation. Take a look. Well, the Indian Parliament descended into chaos after the Union Home Minister introduced 3 highly contentious bills. The government seeks to establish procedure of removal of chief ministers and the Prime Minister, specifically those who are facing jail terms on serious criminal charges. As soon as the Union Home Minister Amit Shah took the floor, the opposition lawmakers started raising slogans. Lawmakers tore copies of the bill. Some of them were also hurled at the Home Minister.
सदस्य ये जो सदस्य विरोध में ना गए मेरे विचार में निर्णय वालों के पक्ष मैं प्रस्ताव करता हूं कि भारत के संविधान का संशोधन करने वाला विधेयक संघ राज्य क्षेत्र शासन अधिनियम
The House reconvened after a short adjournment. Amit Shah announced formation of Joint Parliamentary Committee. The bills will be discussed by the committee that will also include members from the opposition parties. It will put forth its reports before the next session of Parliament.
कि मैं इस बिल को संयुक्त समिति को सौंपने की दरखास्त करने वाला हूं। इस पर संयुक्त समिति जो राज्यसभा और लोकसभा पक्ष और विपक्ष सभी सांसदों की बनेगी, जो इस पर विचार करेगी और आपके सामने लेकर आएगी।
Despite the move, opposition continued to oppose the bills, accusing the government of subverting the constitution to make India a police state. Let's now take a closer look at the controversial bills. They focus on the removal of chief ministers, ministers and prime minister at the centre states and union territories. According to the proposed bills, the elected executives serving in the government will be removed from office if they are detained under serious criminal charges. The deadline for the removal has been set to 30 days. If the chief minister, the prime minister or any other minister does not resign on the 31st day of being jailed, they will be automatically removed from the office. The bill will now be discussed by the Joint Parliamentary Committee, finding a balance between moral responsibility of elected representatives and legislative obligation to resign if jailed has opened a new battlefront in Indian politics. Shifting our focus to West Asia now, where Israel has approved 2 separate plans for both Palestinian territories. One for the takeover of Gaza City and the other for a controversial settlement project in occupied West Bank. Early in the day, Defense Minister Israel Katz approved the military's plan for the takeover of Gaza City in the besieged Strip. Israeli Defense Forces have named the operation Gideon's Chariots 2, which comes in the continuation to the first part of Israel's military plans, which was earlier carried out in May. According to the reports, the IDF will be releasing 50,000 call-up orders to reservists in order to make up for operational demands. This is in addition to those reservists who are already serving. Ahead of the operation, Israeli forces are continuing their ongoing bombardment in several parts of Gaza. Just hours ago, plumes of smoke were seen in Khan Yunis as thousands of Palestinians face repeated displacement. Moving from one territory in Gaza to another of over 2 million Palestinians living in Gaza, 90% have been displaced, many of them several times. Israel's push to carry on with its military plans comes despite rising global criticism over the war-induced crisis in the Gaza Strip. Gaza's health ministry says that Israeli onslaught so far has killed more than 62,000 Palestinians, many of whom are women and children. The Gaza City takeover plan, which several leaders and critics have called an occupation, has now received the green light despite progress in truce talks. Hamas has reportedly given a positive response to the brokered proposal. But Israel has remained silent, with officials saying that contemplation on the clauses are ongoing. Among civilians in Gaza, hope for truce is divided between cautious optimism and no expectation at all.
For 23 months, there has been no one to rely on. Not Israel, not Hamas, not the Palestinian parties. Arab countries, not even foreign ones, don't care about us. All we can rely on is God, but regarding optimism, there is no hope at all.
Israel's offensive is not just limited to Gaza. The country is also eyeing ground operations of a different kind in occupied West Bank. Israel's Higher Planning Committee of the Civil Administration has given final approval for the controversial E1 settlement project. The proposal involves building 3,400 housing units between Jerusalem and the Ma'ale Adumim Israeli settlement in the occupied West Bank. Far-right ministers in Netanyahu's government have hailed this contentious project. Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich said, and I quote him here, "The Palestinian state is being erased from the table not by slogans but by deeds. Every settlement, every neighborhood, every housing unit is another nail in the coffin of this dangerous idea." Critics have called the plan an effort to sabotage political solution for Palestinian statehood and also a severe threat to territorial integrity for the Palestinians. Miss Universe's global appeal has been known for decades, but it just got a whole lot more exciting this year. With representation not just at its best, but at a level that truly matters. A Palestinian beauty queen will compete in the Miss Universe pageant this year as the competition's first Miss Palestine. 27-year-old Nadine Ayub was crowned Miss Palestine in 2022. That's just a year before Hamas attacked Israel. Nadine has been vocal in criticizing Israel's atrocities on Gaza and in what can be called life's strange ways of coming a full circle. She will most probably be competing against a beauty queen from the very same country. An accomplished advocate and now the face of Palestine in the global beauty competition, Nadine is up against her Israeli counterpart, Milani Sharaz Azur, and her focus is to live her truth with beauty, poise and grace through this competition. The Miss Universe organization, which was owned by US President Donald Trump until a decade ago, confirmed that the pageant will be held in November this year, and all these beauty queens will be joined by competitors from more than 130 other countries. If anything, Miss Universe has always been known for its diversity and featuring the best of beauty from all parts of the world. But in recent times, the pageant has even come under scrutiny for only defining beauty as physical appearance over real-life skills or service to the society. In the current geopolitical context, a representation such as this is instrumental not as an act of tokenism, but as a champion of pluralism. In Afghanistan, the Taliban marked the country's 106th Independence Day with a military air display over Kabul. Helicopters and fighter jets flew in formation. The commemoration, once a celebration of freedom from the British, is now being used by the Taliban to showcase its military strength. Take a look. Shifting focus to Malaysia, where at least one part of the country is slowly but surely following in the Taliban's footsteps. So here's what happened. In an extreme demonstration of the impact of Sharia law, the Malaysian state of Terengganu has threatened to jail men who skip Friday prayers without a valid reason. There's a warning of imprisonment of up to 2 years. Some pretty strict diktats have been put out. According to new rules announced by the governing Pan-Malaysian Islamic Party, first-time offenders could be jailed for up to 2 years and fined close to $700 or both. These fines are in place earlier too. Those who miss these 3 consecutive Friday prayers faced a maximum of 6 months in prison or a fine of up to $230. Threats of wielding this Sharia law to the full directly impinges upon religious freedoms. If implemented, the move would impact close to 1.2 million Malay Muslims, making the multicultural country tilt towards religious conservatism. This also directly clashes with the country's secular foundations. Critics say that this would be emblematic of the Taliban in Afghanistan and set a dangerous precedent for Muslims in other parts of the world. For my next story, I want to begin by asking all of you a question. What makes great art? The paint, the brush, the hours of hard work, or is it the vision and the soul of the artist? And if that's true, then what makes cinema cinema? Is it the camera equipment used, or the real emotions and stories that shape the movie? Or does none of that matter, as long as people are entertained? These are a slew of questions we were confronted with today, because in a world where anyone with a phone and internet connection can create art in seconds through AI, a new debate has been sparked. And here in India, in the land of Bollywood, the upcoming release of a first-of-its-kind, fully AI-generated feature movie, has set Bollywood on fire, with directors and actors now openly picking sides. The movie, called Chiranjeevi Hanuman the Eternal, and has been announced by Abu Dattya Entertainment and Collective Media Network. They are marketing it as India's first made-in-AI, made-in-India movie. But not everyone is happy. Let's start with Anurag Kashyap himself, director of movies like Black, Friday, Dev D, Gangs of Wasipur. He posted a scathing attack on the makers, accusing them of putting profits above the very artists they represent. He said, and I'm quoting him here, "So much for looking after the interests of creators. End of the day, it's only about money. Since they chose turkeys after turkeys for you and you are not making enough for them, they are going all AI." He did not stop there. He called on actors to question or even leave the agencies backing the project, blasting those who support AI movies as spineless and cowardly. Of course, he wasn't alone. Vikramaditya Motavani, director of movies like Udan and Lutera, reacted with just one biting line. He said, and I quote again, "And so it begins. Who needs writers and directors when it's all made in AI," unquote. But not everyone feel the same way. Actor Ranveer Singh dropped a single word comment on the announcement post. He said, "Wah," leaving some of his fans shocked. One asked, "Why are you supporting this lack of creativity?" While another wrote, "Isn't this disrespectful to the real artists?" Meanwhile, the directors are defending the vision of the AI movie. Vijay Subramaniam, Group CEO of Collective Artists Network, issued a statement saying, "With this movie, we have the extraordinary opportunity to reimagine cultural storytelling for an audience that cherishes both tradition and innovation. Our approach is rooted in authenticity and cultural stewardship with full transparency about the role of AI." Still, the whole episode seems to have struck a raw nerve because cinema, in its purest form, is about art. It comes from lived human experiences, human sadness, happiness, anger, trauma, and even love. Can an algorithm that is trained on data ever capture that depth of all these human feelings? And if AI simply reassembles patterns from existing work, then the question is, can the result be trusted? But there is economics in it as well. Most artists and creatives already struggle in an industry that is riddled with nepotism, exploitation, and shrinking opportunities. And so they fear, they worry that if AI becomes cheaper, faster, and more profitable, where does that leave human creators, human talent? The bigger question isn't whether AI is a tool. Tools have always helped shape art. The bigger question is, what happens when the tool itself becomes the artist? And if AI learns from data and if the data is biased, won't its creations inherit all those same biases? What happens to authenticity then? Already, the debate has moved beyond just the makers of art to the consumers of art as well. The recent AI-altered climax of the Tamil version of Anand L. Rai's movie Ranjana sparked outrage on social media. Some were left with the same question that we began with: what makes art? The technology that creates it, or the human soul that labors behind it? In the American state of Oklahoma, a new procedure has been introduced to screen school teachers, especially for those coming from California and New York. The screening involves a 50-question test and targets educators coming from blue states. The Republican-dominated state administration in Oklahoma says that this new job requirement is, and I'm quoting here, safeguard against radical leftist ideology. The test will be administered by PragerU, which is a conservative non-profit based in Oklahoma. The organization puts out videos with a conservative perspective on politics and economics. Well, critics have decried the move as a crackdown on teacher autonomy in a classroom. Many are calling it a MAGA loyalty test, a Make America Great Again loyalty test. The American Federation of Teachers, the country's largest teachers union, has opposed Oklahoma's latest move, saying that it will negatively impact the state, which already faces a shortage of educators. Many opposed to the move have earlier criticized state officials for politicizing education after an official included conspiracy theories about 2020 election in the curriculum. Japan is rolling out the red carpet for Africa's leaders. Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba has opened a 3-day development conference in Yokohama, saying he hopes to borrow wisdom from Africa. Our next reporter telling you more. Well, in other news, and in a major shift in Lebanon's public education system, the Ministry of Education has announced that public schools across the country will now move to a 4-day school week for the upcoming academic year. The announcement was made by Lebanon's Education Minister, Rima Karami, who chaired an administrative meeting along with the Director General of Education. Well, the discussions focused on the number of school days, the length of teaching periods, and adjustments to daily and weekly schedules, especially for schools operating double shifts in the morning and afternoon as well. Here's where the 4-day school idea came from. One, teacher shortages. Lebanon is currently experiencing a severe teacher shortage, especially in public schools, due to a combination of economic crisis, low salaries and immigration. Second, low salaries. Teacher salaries have plummeted, with some teachers earning less than $100 per month, making it difficult to meet basic needs and leading to widespread dissatisfaction. Then, fuel costs. The country's economic crisis has led to rising fuel prices, making it difficult for schools to afford the cost of running generators for power, which is crucial for maintaining a school or a functioning learning environment. So, the 4-day school week is essentially a response to Lebanon's complex educational and economic challenges. Lebanon's president was given a detailed briefing about the move. As of now, the Education Ministry has not finalized the details of the new academic year, but the Education Minister has emphasized that the importance of supporting both teachers and administrators to ensure a smooth and successful year. Well, it's a nightmare moment for young America. Fresh graduates armed with degrees weighed down with debt. They're walking straight into closed doors. The U.S. graduate unemployment rate has reached its highest level since 1988. The class of 2025 is discovering the American dream looks more like a shutdown. Our next report telling you more.
From university campuses to the real world, the journey for Generation Z is turning into a nightmare. They have been told that a degree is the key to prosperity, yet a shocking number of new graduates are finding themselves without a job. The US graduate unemployment rate has soared to levels not seen since the 1980s, forcing a generation to confront a brutal new economic reality. The question is, who or what is to blame? Some analysts are pointing the finger directly at Trump-era policies. His administration's trade wars and tariffs have created a ripple effect, destabilizing supply chains and forcing companies to pull back on hiring, leaving industries that once offered solid graduate jobs in limbo. But others argue this crisis is far more complex, driven by an unstoppable force: artificial intelligence. AI is already automating the very entry-level jobs that graduates once relied on to get their foot in the door, making roles in content creation, data analysis, and marketing increasingly redundant. This employment vacuum has given rise to a new unsettling trust gap. The hiring process has become a minefield, with a surge in ghosting where companies simply disappear after interviews, and catfishing where firms misrepresent jobs to lure candidates. For a generation that values transparency, this has created a culture of distrust. Gen Z candidates are now reportedly ghosting employers in return, creating a vicious cycle of mutual frustration and a hiring process defined by suspicion. This is a battle for the future of work, and Gen Z is caught in the middle. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
What if I tell you that AI that you are using to draft that email or get a task done on priority could very well spiral you into depression and give you other mental health challenges? Raising alarm over the use of AI, Microsoft's head of AI has warned that digital chatbots are fueling a flood of delusion and psychosis. This was after a horde of users reported experiencing mental breakdowns when using tools like ChatGPT. In recent times, what's even more alarming is the fact that such problems may not be exclusive to those already at the verge of mental health. But it could also impact the general population exposed to the good, bad, and the ugly of the AI game, many of whom could even fall into the trap of buying these illusions and failing to acknowledge what's real and what's not. So much so that experts warn this could nudge users to fight for rights of the AI interface or the bots they use over their own. Let's face it, hundreds of millions of people chat with OpenAI's ChatGPT and other AI chatbots each week, and that too for hours on end. And if they were to fall prey to the ills stated, it's only a rabbit hole from there. So what's the solution? While decentering AI from daily life is no longer an option, perhaps limited and smart usage can help draw a line. The White House has officially joined TikTok. The Trump administration officially launched its account on aiming to tap into the platform's massive reach. The account, named @White House, which went live Tuesday evening, will serve as a channel to promote President Donald Trump's policies and connect with a younger audience as well. Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt said that the goal is to communicate the historic successes of the Trump administration across as many platforms as possible. She called the move a continuation of the president's digital strategy, adding that the strategy helped him dominate the narrative during the 2024 election. The first video posted on the newly launched account features Trump's audio from his 2016 campaign. Trump himself has praised TikTok in the past, crediting the app with helping him win over young voters in his race against Democratic nominee Kamala Harris back then. At rallies and in interviews, he has often pointed to his campaign's viral content and broad online reach as a game changer.
We'll take a look at TikTok. You know, I have a warm spot in my heart for TikTok because I won youth by 34 points. And there are those that say that TikTok had something to do with it.
The move is already stirring backlash, not from political opponents, but from parts of Trump's own base. Some longtime supporters have criticized the decision, pointing to national security concerns surrounding TikTok's Chinese ownership as well. They say that it's a reversal of Trump's earlier stance when he tried to ban the app during his first term over fears of foreign influence and data privacy concerns. The state of Minnesota joined other states in suing TikTok, alleging that the social media giant preys on young people with addictive algorithms that trap them into becoming compulsive consumers of its short videos. Minnesota is also among other U.S. states that have sued Meta platforms for allegedly building features into Instagram and Facebook that addict people. TikTok, which remains owned by Chinese technology company ByteDance, is popular among young people. It is an estimated 170 million users in the U.S. Trump has so far delayed the implementation of a 2024 law that ordered TikTok to either sell to non-Chinese buyers or be banned in the U.S. with 3 90-day extensions. Well, the U.S. House of Representatives voted 352 to 65 in favor of the sell or ban bill in March 2024, with widespread support from both Republicans and Democrats. The latest extension delaying the ban is due to expire early September. All right, some moons shine, but this one hides. The sky is welcoming a strange celestial rarity there. The black moon on August 23rd. Watch our next report to find out more about this stunning event.
No glow, no light, just darkness. This isn't an eclipse, it's not a shadow. It's a new moon with a cosmic twist, the third new moon in a season that has 4. A pattern that emerges only once every 33 months. The last time the world witnessed it was in May 2023. The next time is not until years from now. But on August 23rd, it arrives in the constellation Leo, drifting just 1 degree north of the sun. And while you can't see the moon itself, this black moon sets the stage for something even more beautiful. The very next evenings, on August 24th and 25th, look west after sunset. A fragile silver crescent will slip back into view. One of the slimmest and most delicate moon phases you can ever catch with the naked eye. But the magic isn't only about what returns. It's also about what the moon's absence reveals. The dark, moonless skies open a rare window into the cosmos. In just 2 days, it is a chance to see what is often lost to brighter lunar light. Faint star clusters, distant galaxies, and the dense heart of the Milky Way itself. So, the moon will hide away, but in that darkness, the universe sparks to life and performs stunning events which aren't visible to humans. A reminder that sometimes the most extraordinary shows begin in silence, shadow, and a sky without a moon.
All right, passengers on a flight from St. Louis to Seattle got more than just a delay. They got a concert. We leave you with this report as we slip into a very short break. Thanks very much for staying with us. You are watching WION World is One. Stay tuned.
To bring the benefits of the Subhash Chandra Show to your educational institution, teachers and students, send an invitation to Juhi Jha at juhi@such.org.in.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide, because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION, World is One.
To bring the benefits of the Subhash Chandra Show to your educational institution, teachers and students, send an invitation to Juhi Jha at juhi@such.org.in.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker on WION World is One.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business.